Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018 Board of Education meeting. Tonight is the second of two evening meetings that we're having to entertain public input on Dr. Freeman's proposed 2018-2019 budget. Dr. Freeman did summarize it last night. I don't know, I mean, I think probably people, if they wanted to see exactly what's in it, it's on our website, and it's also, I think, playing on GCTV when Dr. Freeman, from when Dr. Freeman presented it to the board. So I think we'll skip that, if that's okay. I do have a little bit of an update just for the board. I did talk to Mr. Hoey today on the issue of the turf field. They got, Mr. Maynard, the Park and Rec Director, reported to Mr. Hoey that they had an inspection done of the field and that there is no need to replace it in the 18-19 budget year, as long as it's maintained properly, and Mr. Hoey advises they intend to maintain it properly. So,
did they give a lifespan?
Probably.
I mean, we know the lifespan, but additional years.
Yeah, probably not next year, but the year after. I think that's what the target would be.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's something that may.
Adjustment to board committee?
Yeah, we can take care of that. So the routine would be to just come up and there is a sign-in sheet. I think the recording secretary asked us to have a sign-in sheet so the minutes are accurate, and that's been put over on the music stand to the far left. And then if you could just sign in and put your address, and then just come up to the lectern, and maybe when one person's talking, the next person can come up and just sign in, and we'll try to do it that way. But we're not going to cut people off. I just ask you to just be tolerant and cognizant that there may be other people that want to speak, and then if you want to sit down and circle back, that's fine. But just give everybody an opportunity. So with that, anybody on the board want to make any comments or suggestions? Anything? Okay. I have asked Dr. Moore. Chris Moore is here. I just had a meeting of the Start Time Task Force, and at some point I'd like to ask you to give an update. I don't know if you want to do that now or if you want to do it later or whatever.
Sure, I'll just do it.
Sure, okay.
So Bill approached me just before the meeting. I didn't really prepare any remarks, but so funny to be on the other side of the table. Wearing jeans and no tie.
Your name and address, please.
Chris Moore, 151 Whitfield Street. Yeah, I was on the board for 8 years, and as soon as I stepped off, I was appointed to the task force, and then promptly elected chair of that. So I guess the point being, we would like the community to be aware that there is a school start times task force that was commissioned by the board and the superintendent to look at the issue, in particular, of high school start times. There has been a statement by the American Association of Pediatricians that this is a public health issue, and we appreciate, I think on behalf of the task force, I think all of the members on there are passionate about the issue. We appreciate the board recognizing this as an issue that is important for the health and really the achievement of the kids, both academically and athletically. So we are looking at that. There is consensus on this. I know there's been discussion in the community, but the research is quite clear that this is not an issue of just not monitoring screens and things like that. It's a biological, hormonal issue, and we believe that it is important. I will say, just for this season, I think we just had a meeting. I don't think the task force will be prepared to present anything that would have any budgetary impact for this year on start times. We will continue to look at budget neutral options through the spring that might allow us to, in particular, move the high school start time later without disrupting other things too much. But that is the update. We've been meeting weekly for the last several months, and hope to continue to do that to present some recommendations to the board. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So anybody, please, if somebody would like to be heard, just come on up, sign in, and let us know what you'd like to say.
So I've spoken a few times. I've been coming almost every month, and today I actually prepared a speech, so please bear with me. Good evening. My name is Valerie Ferrucci, and I have a third grader as well as a preschooler. We reside at 1595 Little Meadow Road in Guilford. I have spoken previously about my support on Start School Late for high school, and I'm excited to hear the update. And I greatly appreciate all the work that has been put forth on this change. I have also spoken about full-time art in our elementary schools. I have volunteered for years in the art room at Lakes and see the challenges firsthand the teacher has with her limited time. For those who are not aware, our elementary school children receive 30 to 40 minutes once a week of art. There is one art teacher shared by 2 schools. Often the classes are back-to-back without even 5 to 10 minutes between for the teacher to put materials away, clean up, get out new materials, and set up for her PowerPoint presentation. This limits the materials that can be used and takes away from instructional time. While I do appreciate the proposed budget, including full-time music teachers, the reality for what the children are actually getting in art is less than what it appears. I have gathered some information from the state of Connecticut's recommendations, and I'm happy to pass on these articles. And I quote, scheduling models in which students receive only a single lesson in an art form over a period of 4 or more days are highly inefficient because the learning that occurs during one class is often forgotten by the time the next class occurs. Such problems are further compounded by holidays, field trips, and other interruptions, which may cause gaps of 2 or more weeks between lessons. To sustain student learning and make it possible to achieve art standards, all students should receive art instruction at least twice weekly during grades K through 8 in each art form. End quote. Again, I reiterate, these are state guidelines which we are not meeting. I'm just reading all of this data is very shocking for what we provide in our town. According to the SDE, State Department of Education, students should receive 60 to 100 minutes of art and music per week. According to the National Opportunity to Learn standards, students should receive 90 minutes of each art form per week. The SDE also states that for a quality art program, there should be no more than 6 classes per day and at least 5 minutes between classes. I understand some may have the feeling that art is lovely to look at, but not essential. My kid colors at home, my kid makes slime. Our art teachers provide much more than most do at home, including exposure to art history, new vocabulary words, and new techniques and materials. There are numerous studies I have read which reveals that children exposed to art are often more proficient at reading, writing, math, cognitive ability, critical thinking, and verbal skills. I won't bore everyone anymore with any more references, but they are definitely out there. I love our town and our schools, and I'm thankful we have this wonderful Board of Education. I am, however, frustrated with the limited art in our elementary schools and encourage full-time art in the upcoming school year. I also encourage that if I happen to inspire anyone that hasn't given this much thought to, if they're a proponent, to come up and say so, because that's the only way we're going to make a change. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Rydell, 135 Lake Drive. Excuse me. You're going to have to excuse me. This is my first time speaking in public, so a little patience, please. I would like to bring to the attention of the Board of Education and the Superintendent, Dr. Freeman, a forgotten segment of the student's journey through school. As was mentioned at the last Board of Ed meeting on Monday, 1/22/18, it is very hard for the bus companies to retain drivers. As we know, they are the heart of transporting our students. Now more than ever, it's a time to recognize an elite group of drivers. There are 4 people who have devoted over 20 years each to our district. One driver has over 37 years. They have gone through many companies and hardships, but maintain their devotion to our students. The bus companies recognize a year of service, but not the devotion. They, the drivers, would like to see that they are appreciated for all they have done and what they are still doing. We, as parents, community, and the Board of Ed, need to show them that we appreciate what they do for us.
Thank you very much.
Jana Fuji, and I am a third grader at Guilford Lakes Elementary School. I would like more time for art and music at school, and I only have 1 more year at Lakes. Thank you.
Hi, it's a family affair today. My name is Jana Fuji, 1595 Little Meadow Road, and I definitely support late start times for the high school, as well as full-time art and full-time music. Thank you very much for the great work you guys do.
Hi, I'm Andy Gottlieb, 680 Tanner Marsh Road. Speaking tonight not as a parent, but as a former student, class of 2010 at GHS. I think that starting school later should be a big priority. I can well remember waking up in the middle of the night to start school. Felt very unnatural, was always very strange, 180 days a year. I think certainly despite the best efforts of students and teachers, people are always exhausted, I think more so than they would be with a later start time throughout the day. People would have to get up, depending on the bus route, maybe at 5 or 6 in the morning if you're going to have a decent breakfast, which I think is also important before going to school. I know that there are certainly a lot of complications, a lot of challenges involved in developing a schedule that would work, especially with busing, but I think that nothing is insurmountable. I was there when the old high school was still in existence before the referendum had passed for the construction of the new high school. Those seemed like insurmountable challenges then, and I think that in the same way, we can overcome these obstacles and create a schedule that works much better for our teenagers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Christina Mills. I live at 162 Foxwood Road South, and I'm here tonight representing 36 families from Calvin Leet School who strongly support the superintendent's budget proposal, particularly the addition of a third, fourth grade teacher for our school next year. As we've discussed at 2 previous Board of Education meetings, our children's third grade classes are the biggest in the district, magnifying behavioral challenges and stretching our wonderful teaching staff to their limits. By adding a third class for this group next year, we can improve their classroom experience and better support each child's individual needs. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Freeman and Principal Grimm for requesting additional support for our students and prioritizing them in the next year's budget, and we hope we can count on the continued support of this board as well. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to keep the Calvin Leet train going here, too. My name's Alison Felicio, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of 55 families from Calvin Leet, and many of us are here tonight. You guys want to raise your hands? And our, I should mention, our music teacher, too, Libby Seidner, is here as well. And we want to speak strongly in support of the superintendent's budget and its expansion of the elementary music program. Today, many of us attended a concert at Calvin Leet given by 3rd and 4th grade students under the direction of our wonderful but part-time music teacher, Miss Seidner. We wish you could have been there to hear the music and to see the pride on our children's faces as they performed. Our kids love the arts, and frankly, 30 minutes per week of music is just not enough for them to receive the full benefits of a comprehensive music education. According to multiple scientific studies, music instruction enriches all areas of a child's education, including reading, mathematics, and even school attendance. The benefits are endless. These are benefits that all elementary students should receive, not just those who have the resources to supplement their meager 30 minutes of in-school instruction with after-school lessons. We thank the superintendent for prioritizing music education in his budget, and we hope that we can count on the support of the board as well. Thank you.
Chris Moore, 151 Whitfield Street. This is a separate issue, but actually one of the things when I was on the board that I tried to get the board to do prior to budget season was a transparent report of the participation in athletics and the expenditures that go towards that. This did not occur, I guess, for several reasons that I'm not entirely clear on, not being on the board anymore. However, I think one of the, as a parent of a student who rows crew, I go to these regattas and I see how many kids are involved in the crew team. Last year there were 55 girls and 33 boys, 88 students that benefited from this phenomenal program, which is heavily subsidized by a nonprofit that provides all of the infrastructure in these $38,000 boats, volunteers from the Vespoli family, provides a fantastic experience for these kids, but they still have to pay, $450 each spring, and up to this point, we've only had a head coach paid for by the district, and I believe there is a proposal to add at least one assistant coach. I would actually like to request that we add a second coach. The cost is $2,900. They certainly need this. They're subsidizing everything else. And as far as bang for the buck in terms of providing opportunities for these kids, outside of school, this is a huge win for the district to provide simply 2 coaches. I think it would help equalize things a bit in terms of equity in the sports and the resources that we're providing for the kids. So it's a little self-serving because I have a kid on this team, but this is a great program, and it's heavily subsidized by the community, by the nonprofit, by the parents, by the booster club, and a little bit of support from the district would go a long way to really making this the best thing possible for the kids. So I'd like to request that we add a second assistant coach to the crew team. Thank you.
Great.
Hello, my name is Maria Krish, 58 Trailwood Drive in Guilford. I'm another Calvin Leet parent, and I partly wanted to echo the PTO statement, but I actually wanted to say just a note as someone who's brand new to the town. My family moved here in August, and I know that for us, looking at strong school districts was the biggest piece of our choice in terms of where to move in the shoreline area, close to our work. I know that several of the other families, I have a son in kindergarten, so we have met a lot of rather new families in the area. And the same goes for many of the new residents. I think it's important when we're thinking about fully funding small classrooms, art, music, things like that, that it's important to remember that having a very strong school is definitely a draw for new residents in the town. So I support the increases that are in the current budget. Thank you. And I think I just say that there's a lot of interest from the outside in terms of when people decide to move and looking at the schools.
Thank you.
So, my name is Elizabeth Hicks. This is Rosa. I don't know. This is Rosa, this is Chloe, this is Claire, and that's Anna. And on behalf of the swim team, we would like to thank the board for making it a reality. I know it's been a long time since it's been suggested, and we would like to thank you for giving us all the opportunity to swim on a Guilford swim team. I know that we have all really appreciated it, and the team has just been amazing, and we've really grown as both people and in our swimming, and we just would like to thank you for that. However, we still have a lot of costs like transportation and our suits and the coaches, and so any extra money would be greatly appreciated.
Season's going well?
Yes.
Is it over now? or-
It's over for the girls, but boys are still going on.
And how many girls swim?
I believe there were 20, and then we had a manager as well.
Great. Well, thank you. Appreciate
Can I
it.
just add emphasis
course.
to something? I think that it's really important that I know I have some of my friends that can't swim because they can't afford the cost, and people that we could really have like a good addition to our team that could make our team better. I think that's important.
What are the students paying right now for swim?
So far?
Yeah.
At about $900 a
per
student. $900 per family.
Is that mostly pool time?
Transportation,
Transportation.
coaches, pool,
Pool and equipment.
and
Well,
equipment. And meet fees.
And I'm sorry?
Fees for the
Oh,
meets.
fees. Okay.
Also, to add on to that, I want to speak. Obviously, we have the obvious issues of the money and stuff like that, but just talk about the camaraderie of our team. We've really come together. I think it gives girls a lot of chance to kind of unify and find each other, find different friends. And we still say hi to each other in the hall, which is kind of rare for teams like that. And I've never had girls cheer me on more, so I think that it's important to not only look at the cost that we need, but also that cost is not only going towards transportation, but also towards these relationships we've created.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just have to say something. I went to the end of the year banquet. I am predicting it will be it is going to be the fastest growing and most competitive sport in the future at our high school. You could feel the family within that banquet hall. And a great, tremendous coach, and I guarantee you that program is going to grow tenfold in the next 5 to 7 years.
Especially with funding.
Yvonne Chow, 61 Horseshoe Road. I speak on two issues before the board this evening. One is our fabulous swim team. Thank you, Rick. That was very kind of you. Some of our girls have never swam competitively, ever. And some of them, at least 2 or 3, went to states. So that really speaks to the hard work. And if anyone has ever swam, it is the hardest workout ever. And these girls are in physical, amazing shape, emotional. I mean, it's really changed a couple of their lives profoundly. And to support that is really amazing. So thank you. And also to see the other teams from other parts of the state congratulate us for finally getting a team together. At states, we're competing in Class L, which is one of the hardest. We're talking Wilton, Cheshire, and for them to come up to our little team and cheer us on, I've been involved in soccer, basketball, fencing, and fencing comes close to that. They do cheer you on, but never in another sport have I seen the amount of cheers that we are getting at every meet. And I also want to speak on behalf of the GHS Music Boosters at the high school level on your proposing of your full-time music teachers at the elementary school level. I can speak to the caliber of our musicians at the high school level. We send more kids to regionals. We've had more first chairs, and that is because our daily commitment to music at the Adams and Baldwin level. I came from a school district that literally had 30 minutes of music, maybe, every week at the middle school levels, and their caliber of musicians are fine, but honestly, we send our kids to amazing jazz competitions. We're going to Spain. And to install the love of music at an elementary school level on at least a weekly basis could only support our already fine music program. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Others? I want to thank everybody for coming out. We do have actually a little bit of unrelated, well, not unrelated business. As you may have heard, we're at the end of a 5-year contract for our bus transportation, and we were very well served in the last 2 contracts because the company was trying to get into this area and gave us a very reasonable fee, a very reasonable price. They don't have the same economic needs today as they did 5 years ago, I think is the way I would phrase it. Would that be fair, Mr. Sands? And their proposal has come in at a 20% increase over last year, which is about $300,000. We do want to, there were only 2 companies that bid on the contract compared to the 7 that attended the bid conference. From what I understand from other colleagues around the state, that's not unusual. That this is, it is not a buyer's market at the moment, but Dr. Freeman wants to talk to us a little bit about maybe some strategy relating to that contract. So there's been a proposal that we have an executive session this evening to talk about the bus contract, which is perfectly appropriate under state law. But then not vote on anything tonight. Any vote on the contract would be at the meeting next week. So, so is there a motion to go into executive session for that purpose?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right. So let me just before we adjourn into executive session, I just want to highlight what the timeline is. We are going to meet as a Board of Education next Monday at 7:30 at the high school to talk about both the budget that we would move forward to the Board of Finance as well as any bonding proposals that we would move forward to the Board of Finance. The Board of Education will then present our budget to the Board of Finance on February 15th. And as lovely as it is to see all of you here, you really need to be there because they are the ones that have really a substantial potential impact on what happens. There would then be a public hearing on the budget on March 6th, which is actually where you should go. You should attend that to make it clear to them the importance of the education budget, March 6th. And that'll be at the community center at 7:30 probably. Then they have 2 workshops to discuss the budget on March 8th and March 12th. And then there will be an annual budget meeting on April 3rd. That's where the meeting would get moved forward to the referendum. And then at least today, the referendum is scheduled for April 10th, which is really early.
And also really where you need to show up.
Yeah, that's true.
For sure.
Yeah, that is the most important of all of these, frankly, because the budgets can be very close sometimes, depending on all sorts of things. We don't get the turnout at the referendum that we really need and that we would really like, and so I've argued before, and I will continue to argue that the vote on the municipal budget is probably the single most important vote in terms of the impact on your daily life, because so few people do vote, that it's actually a circumstance where a handful of people can literally change the course of the schools or change the course of public safety or roads or whatever. So I would encourage you to get out on April 10th. So in any event, does anybody have any other? Yes.
Can you repeat those dates
Yeah.
slowly so we have a full committee for the swim team, and I want to make sure.
Okay, sure. So we are going to vote, we, the Board of Education, will vote Monday, January 29th, 7:30 at GHS. This is on our website too, I think.
Yes, this timeline is on our website.
The Board of Education will present our budget to the Board of Finance on February 15th. That's probably not so important for public participation because they really don't take public comment. March 6th, they do take public comment, the Board of Finance, and that will be at 7:30 at the Community Center. That's actually a rather important meeting. March 8th and March 12th, they'll have workshops. Again, they don't usually take public input, but I don't know with new chairman, I really don't know what they're going to do. And then the budget meeting would be April 3rd, and then the referendum will be April 10th. April 10th. But that is on, we've got, the budget is on our website and the timeline is on our website. And anybody, and I should just note that we have received other emails in support of various initiatives within the budget, start times, some of the additional teaching positions. I know there have been some emails about the Cox position. We're quite aware of the enrollment situation at Cox, and so, Calvin-Lee, I'm sorry. And I know that Dr. Freeman has put that in the budget, and I think there's a high likelihood that barring some kind of enrollment change, that would be moved forward to the Board of Finance. But in any event, we really appreciate everybody coming out. It's great to have so many people who are advocates for our schools and not really for the schools, but for the kids that are in the schools, because this is a vitally important thing that all of you do, all of us do, and we appreciate the attention, the interest, the support moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you all.
So we're going to stay here, or we should go to a classroom.